How is it possible that the people you love so much, they make you laugh over their idiosyncrasies or the way that they respond to moments in life, are also the people that cause the greatest stress to the point of chronic stress in your life? How do you move forward when the stress part of that neurodiverse marriage and family is greater than the joyful moments? We're going to break down the warning signs for you to be looking for, and then what can you do if you begin experiencing those?
Hey, friend, do the daily demands of family life leave little time for self care? Are you losing yourself in the process of caring for others? Are you ready to make self care and healthy boundaries a natural part of your day while embracing your roles as a wife and mom? Well, I'm so glad you're here. I'm Christina, married 17 years to a neurodiverse man, mom of 3 neurodiverse kids, and many more roles. Welcome to the Moms and Neurodiverse Families podcast. Get ready to begin your self-care journey. Grab your planner and listen in as we take another small step towards a peaceful, healthier you.
Thanks for taking time out of your very busy day. Maybe you're folding laundry right now, or you're on a walk, or you're driving the car in traffic and you're listening to this podcast. So thank you for taking the time. Also, a big thank you to those who are leaving reviews. I really appreciate it. If you have not done so yet, please go ahead and leave a 5-star review. It takes a few moments and it helps other women who are in the same situation find this podcast, which I so appreciate. And today we are discussing the odd dichotomy of people that you love so much and care for so much, and at the same time, they can be the biggest part of the stress in your life. Quick example, my spouse and kids can tell the corniest jokes that make me groan. In fact, they take quite delight in seeing who can make mom the most perturbed over their corny jokes. Also, they have these idiosyncrasies, which just make me smile sometimes. It's how they see the world. It makes me laugh so much. Laugh in a good ways. Like, I just appreciate their viewpoint in life that is so refreshing from other people. And also just, yeah, again, their unique view of the world, how they interact with it. One example is my son will say, people say, "What's up?" And he will look up and he go, "The ceiling?" He's like, "This is silly. Like, why are we asking what's up? Why can't they just be direct and just say, how are you doing?" And I love those unique viewpoints of life. It makes me smile so much. But at the same time, those who we love can be the deepest part of our burden and our pain. And it can be from having verbal Olympics that we're doing on a simple conversation such as, "Can you pick up X, Y, and Z at the grocery store?" It can come from unexpected emotional outbursts when you were discussing the schedule and all of a sudden what went from a 0 on the stress scale went up to like a 25 and you were so confused at how did this happen? Or the lack thereof. It's the lack of empathy or not responding to when you're obviously in emotional distress. Now, all these situations, there are the perspective of our children and our spouse. Like, why did they react that way? I'm not saying that their actions were intentionally hurtful. I'm also not saying that we should give a pass. I am stating that there are reasons sometimes our loved ones respond in those ways can be very much considered understandable. For example, talking about this topic of going to the grocery store, your spouse could be feeling extremely overwhelmed because they're thinking of all the other tasks they have to do and they're fearful of letting you down. And so all the anxiety rises up. And instead of communicating that, you get this back and forth conversation to the point of an emotional outburst. And you're like, all I was asking is that they can pick up some eggs from the grocery store. Again, it's helpful to see their point of view. Also, we're not okaying hurtful actions either, only trying to see things from both perspectives to help walk our way through this quagmire sometimes. Because when they become curious about my responses and when I become curious about their responses, that allows more openness and investigation, but also able to see like, yes, I understand this, but I can't agree and say it's okay how you treated me. And then conversation can be happening on how do we move forward from this moment. But I want to talk to you about there's moments when the chronic stress from navigating all these challenges because your spouse or your kids have not quite figured out all the coping skills and they haven't figured out the communication skills, and you are still learning how to communicate and how to navigate, right? This is all in process. So because it's in process, there is this heaviness that's on you. There are 3 warning signs that you and I need to be careful of. And that is a way for our mind and our body to say, they're flashing red lights saying, warning, you're getting too close to the edge of what you and I are able to handle. So number 1, withdrawing and not being yourself. When you're having a conversation with your spouse and you know what you want to say in your head, or you're trying to figure out how to say it in your head, but you don't because you've already done all the multiple steps in your mind regarding if I say this, there are 2 likely reactions. Either would be a verbal outburst or he's going to give me a cold shoulder because of, you know, the reasons why. I don't even have to explain this to you. You know this. And you begin thinking this through and saying, you know what? Nope, I just did some neurodiverse mom math and that's not worth it. So I am going to not state this. And you begin withdrawing and not expressing your needs, not being yourself. It happens once, twice, and it continues to happen until you are really almost a shadow in a room. And that is so hard and painful to say. I've been there. You're able to express to other people because of their emotional intelligence and their ability to go back and forth in a conversation and take your perspective, and you're able to hear their perspective. When it comes to your family, though, that possibly is not present or is only present during certain times when they are regulated. So you withdraw less and less being yourself, and eventually it begins happening around other people where you are not yourself. It comes to the point where you maybe look at a photo from several years ago. Maybe it's on a Facebook, one of those memories that pops up. Or you're scrolling through your phone and you happen to jump back 10 years. You see a photo and you look and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't remember being that person anymore because you withdrew so much to avoid conflict because you didn't have anything in the reservoir anymore to handle the conflict. You retreated. You put up the white flag, you retreated, but that didn't give the answer you really needed, though, did it? Like at the moment, it felt like it was a safer choice, but in reality, it didn't give the ultimate answer to the problem, which was, this is just too much, and I don't know how to process and deal with this, and how do I share my opinions knowing that there could be some pretty big reactions to that. The second warning sign to consider is when you begin responding in anger or having verbal outbursts, something that's not normal for you, or maybe it does happen once in a while, but the frequency of it is much higher. You're not being your best self. You find that it's almost as if it's a dry forest, and is that one action someone can do is like a match, and it's an inferno on how you respond. There is no patience. There is no trying to be curious and understanding like what the other person is going through. It is instantaneous. There is, I say short fuse, like, oh, you have a short fuse because there is so much that has worn on you. You've been carrying the load and you're not seeing the benefits from carrying this heavy load for so long. And possibly the verbal outbursts that are happening in your family, you begin mimicking and copying that. I've heard many women who say like they were a very calm person, but being in this family and that everyone else's norm was having these verbal outbursts, these angry outbursts when they were overwhelmed or frustrated, that the wife sometimes can begin copying that. I usually find for myself, I will become less understanding. I will become more impatient. Impatience is what I really see for myself, where I could be able to have a conversation, walk through those choices. What I normally would use as a coaching or teaching moment, my response is impatience and a very quick and not kind remark. And afterwards, I will think about, I'm like, oh, why did I say that? That's not my best self. And that's my warning sign to me, is my impatience, because that can lead towards that responding to anger, verbal outbursts. For many people who maybe, if you're talking to someone else and they're trying to understand this, a good example is when women have newborns and they are barely getting any sleep at all. They're getting 2-3 hours at a time. There comes to be a certain point that their fuse is very short and they have very quick, cryptic, sometimes angry responses to people because they are so short on sleep. And we understand that, right? Because they are trying to keep a little human being alive. And we also understand that it's for a time being. Again, being curious on why a person responds, right? For us, being curious and realizing that you're starting to be impatient, have these outbursts, that is a warning sign. Number 3, your emotions. And either you're into I am crying almost anything. I am crying, like the tears are like they're right there. I could blink and my tears are going to come. Like they're just right at the surface, or there's nothing. Like you no longer feel emotions. In fact, the caring, like you're maybe a little scared even. Like I really don't care right now. I cannot muster up any more caring because I've spent all my energy trying to care, and my needs they're just not even seen or visible by anyone. So I just can't care anymore. I have nothing left to give. This is a very dangerous point, especially when you go, and oftentimes it can go from the crying where the emotions, the tears are just at the surface, and it can eventually turn into the I don't care, because your brain and body is saying this is too much. It is too much for us. And then a protective mechanism comes up and you begin distancing yourself emotionally. And where in the past you'd have more of a curious, like, oh, what's going on type of response to your family. And now you have, okay, that's the way it is, I guess. You don't spend the time coaching or training. You're not doing follow-up conversations. You're just done. And this is a very concerning, because that is the sign of burnout, can lead to bitterness. And how God made us, we need to be in tuned to these 3 warning signs of withdrawal, responding in anger, verbal outbursts, being extremely impatient, or our emotions are either the waterworks or we are a stone. So what do you do if you begin saying, like, Christina, I don't just have one of these, Christina. I have most of these or all of these. Like, I feel like that is me. And my heart goes out to you, because I know for you to even say you have one or all 3 of these things, that means you have been in the thick of it, not just for a week or for a month. This is a long time that you've been in the thick of it. And when things are very quiet, when you are alone and your mind can recover and calm down, in those moments, you probably do think of your family. And there might be moments of like, I know I care for them. I just don't have it in me. So when you have these warning signs, this is your way that God has designed, if you're a person of faith, God has designed for you to begin taking steps to take care of yourself. I'm going to link a few of the podcast episodes where I talk in detail about what you can do when your needs are not being seen, when they're being unmet. But real quick, just for this moment, one of the most important things you need to do is first acknowledge where you're at. And this is very hard sometimes, to really acknowledge, like, it's as bad as we think it is, because we want to feel like we can handle it all. But we can't. It's not possible. So one, just acknowledge, like, yes, this is pretty hard and awful. And you are trying to be a wife, a mom, a therapist, occupational therapist. You're trying to do all the different speech therapy. Like, you're trying to do all these different types of things, a psychologist. And it's not possible for you to be all those positions. So one, just acknowledge, this is where I'm at right now. And then right afterwards, and I will not be here forever. That is so important. Yep, I'm here in this moment, but I'm not going to stay here. I am not staying here. Second step, I'm going to encourage you to take some time, even if you have to hide and lock yourself in the bathroom, but take some time and to play either some calming music using the Pause app. I'm going to link this in the show notes for you. Able to do some quiet meditation and prayer to God. Trying to connect with God, because until you can have that connection, remember, and that will help you to remember who your best self is. Until you can have that time, everything else doesn't seem so heavy. So first, moments to either meditate quietly over music, meditate in a Bible verse using the Pause app, and helping your brain just to let go, as in not hold on to the anger and the frustration, bitterness, but let go of those deep feelings and acknowledging, I don't know how, God, but I believe you are with me in this. And next step is either going to be, you're going to get some food for yourself if you've been neglecting feeding yourself some good, healthy meal, or you're going to take a nap. Look at your physical needs. There is something very likely that's deeply needed. Drinking some water. I firmly believe that we are a holistic persons, that our challenges need holistic answers. So whether for you, like, you know what, I know I just need to drink water. I need to get myself, I'm going to spend $10 and I'm going to get myself a good meal. And I am going to find a way to eat it by myself. I'm going to eat in the car if you have to, even, right? Sometimes we have to get creative. But or maybe if for you, it's going to be walking outside for 10 minutes in nature, but do something for yourself physically. That's going to be so important. And then I suggest you go to the links I'm going to have regarding unmet needs and what you can do. Again, I'll have those in the show notes. But the biggest thing, again, is your mindset. Acknowledging, yes, this is where I'm at, but I am not going to stay here. I am not staying here. This is just a moment in time. I don't know how this is going to work out, but somehow God is going to give me step by step. And we have to remember that we need to measure things by millimeters and centimeters, our forward progress. That way we don't get defeated when we don't have this all of a sudden massive push on our goals or on our health or in our life. And that's why having our ears attuned to people out in the world who are working on their goals and their plans, and they have more of a neurotypical family, it is very unhealthy to listen to how they plan and move forward in the progress of their life, because they are not dealing with the incredible beauty and challenge of a neurodiverse family. And I try to keep the balance that there is good, there are sweet moments, there are amazing times together in the midst of the ongoing difficulties and challenges. And until spouses and kids begin learning how to regulate, learning to take on their own loads, to work on their capacity, there is this time where things are heavy. So you and I, in those moments, need to be supporting ourselves first. This is going to seem really odd, but you need to support yourself first before anyone else. And this is why my planner system that I use is so important, that I am excited to launch sometime this spring, God willing, is it focuses on, yes, the different things we need to do with our family and work if you have that, but also it mirrors right in there so beautifully yourself. You need to be taking care of yourself, to be carrying all these heavy roles, important roles, and roles that you do want to do. So that is my goal, is how can I provide you a system, a method, so that you can take care of yourself first. That way that enables you to be there for your family. And if you identified with the warning signs I shared, I just want to pray for you real quickly. Lord, I ask for your presence and your peace over this woman. Only you know the depth of her heart and the heartache she's gone through. You know how much she cares and loves for her family. And this division in her heart of caring for people that she loves, but also being hurt by the challenges of neurodiverse family. Not that they're intentional hurts all the time, but there are impacts. And that is so hard to figure out and navigate, Lord. So I pray that you would give her wisdom. I pray for your peace that surpasses understanding to be guarding her heart and protecting her. Amen.
Hey, thank you for joining me today. I pray this episode gave you encouragement to take one small step. If so, please leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts to help other women find this show. By the way, if you're loving this conversation and want more encouragement like this, join my email list at bit.ly/myselfcare. That is bit.ly/myselfcare. I have a planner launching soon that will help you put all this into action in your own life. I look forward to chatting with you again next week for another episode.